This is an example of a typical fire certification application in terms of drawings and a compliance report. In order to prepare a full fire safety application, we firstly access the file data from our online secure SharePoint server. As previously mentioned, this is a simple office block, single story with a flat roof connecting between two apex roofs. On the roof is located solar panels. The left hand side of the drawing indicated is the ground floor plan. On the right hand side of the drawing is the roof plan, and on the lower section is the travel distance ground floor plan. As indicated, all travel distance are in accordance with PS 5588 Part 11, which is the section that this building is evaluated under, and also in accordance with Section 1 of TGDB Fire Regulations, means of escape, distance for horizontal escape. And also indicated in red is the necessary codes to comply with in terms of fire alarm detection system and emergency lighting, which is IS 3218, IS 3217. Next, we look at the floor plan in more detail. You can see the travel distances are all highlighted in blue dashed line, and each travel distance is given its dimension from the furthest point of the room to the nearest exit. Also indicated is all door widths, i.e. clear door opening widths, and these are in accordance with code and regulations for minimum escape routes. AE indicated on the drawing means an alternative exit if the primary exit is compromised, i.e. if there is a fire in that location. The orange dots on the drawing indicates the access points for firefighters to gain entry into the building, and the green arrows indicates the escape routes for personnel, whether that be employees or public that are in the building. If a fire was to occur, these green arrows are indicating the location for the escape routes to the assembly points. This assembly point is indicated later on a site layout map. The next drawing on the second sheet is the fire detection and alarm system. On this drawing, it is determined what type of fire alarm detection system is required under IS 3218, and that is dependent on the purpose group and category of the building. Indicated on this drawing is the electrical panel board, which usually is located in the main central area, and also indicated is the fire alarm CTU, which is the central test unit. This needs to be also located within the main circularization reception area. As can be seen on all of the final exits, there's a BGU, which is a break glass unit, and also indicated on the drawings is the necessary fire extinguishers. This can more than likely will be fully detailed by your fire prevention specialist in terms of equipment. Indicated on the drawing is the necessary type of emergency lighting requirements, which is mains connected and with a 3-hour battery standby mode. The next drawing is the fire rated drawing and doors. The walls highlighted in green are 30-minute fire rating walls, and the accompanying doors are 30-minute fire rated smoke seal doors. Depending on the type of activity and the type of fire load or fire risk, it will be determined whether a 30-minute wall fire rated construction or a 60-minute fire rated construction is required. This is compartmentation walls so that the escape routes are fully protected to allow persons to evacuate the building depending on the rating, giving them 30 minutes or 60 minutes or up to 120 minutes time, so the fire cannot spread from one section of the building to the other, especially on the escape routes. As you can see on the right hand side of the drawing, there is a detailed legend that fully explains each symbol used throughout the building and to what code and standard is required. The next drawing is the elevation drawings, which will indicate the compartmentation both horizontally and both vertically throughout the building, so that fire is contained within various sections, compartmentations, and cannot spread. First of all, the total unprotected area is calculated. This is usually openings in walls for windows and doors, or some other openings or materials that may not have the necessary fire rating in terms of integrity, insulation, and stability. As previously mentioned, the green line is indicating a 30-minute fire-resistant compartment, and the red is 60-minute compartmentation. Also indicated on all the elevations is the location of the fire alarm sounder strobe light and any necessary emergency lighting that is required along the escape routes, footpaths, if the street light does not prevent the correct amount of lumens. On the bottom of this sheet indicated the notional boundaries or physical boundaries, unprotected areas. This is usually carried out through BRE 182 external fire spread, building separation and boundary distance, and it is in accordance with section B4 external fire spread. Each elevation is taken separately for compliance. The next drawing is the site layout drawing, which indicates in red arrows the access route for the fire attendants, the distances from all relative boundaries, physical boundaries and notional boundaries, the turning area for the water bowser, or it could be a fire engine, fire vehicles, and as previously mentioned, the green arrows on the floor plan indicated the access route towards the fire assembly point. The blue line represents the portion of the boundary perimeter which will be accessible to fire attendant vehicles. This is taken into account for locations of hydrants and also in terms of the unprotected areas. The legend on the right hand side of the drawing indicates in red the site boundary, in orange the structure subject to this fire safety certificate application, hydrant locations, as previously mentioned, the red arrow for fire attendant access routes, the green is the fire assembly point, and the blue is the proportion of the building which can be accessible. The next drawing is the site location map. This is in general just to give the fire officers and the firefighters the general location of the subject site and building. Again, the arrows indicate the access route for the fire attending vehicles, and the boundary is outlined in red. The blue on the drawing is just indicating the total land holding. To the written documents in terms of the application form that is accompanied with the fire safety certificate. On this form, the necessary details are filled in terms of the client, the agent, the address of the property, what is the proposed works of the building, whether it is a construction of a new building, material alteration, a material change of use, or an extension to a building. There's a brief description of the application. Then there is more detail in terms of the site area, the number of basements, the number of stories above ground level, the highest height of the top floor above the ground level, the floor area, which we previously had shown on the drawing as a shaded colour. This is a brief view of technical guidance document B, but there will be a new document coming into effect from 1st of May 2025, which is TGDB 2023 regulation. In here, the first step will be to look at the purpose group classification to see which group does the proposed fire cert fall into. As can be seen, this example is an office block, so therefore it's under purpose group 3. And purpose group 3, as can be seen, refers you to BS 5588 Part 11 1997 regulations. As previously mentioned, travel distances are also looked at to show that it's in compliance. And then, as previously mentioned, BRE 182, external fire spread building separation, distance from boundaries is also evaluated. This table indicates and shows the relevant distance from boundaries and the percentages of unprotected area acceptable. As can be illustrated in our compliance report, the necessary unprotected elements, distance from relevant boundaries, enclosing rectangle, to work out the percentage of unprotected area and if it is acceptable. Appendix A is a general overview of fire doors, but these will have to have the necessary fire certification for the entire door set from the manufacturer. Appendix B indicates the type of fire alarm detection system that is required in accordance with IS 3218, which runs through from L1, which is your highest grade, down to an L4, which will be the lowest grade of fire alarm system.